Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream. First order of business. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section. The comment section right there, and that way I'll know I can hear you, I can see you, and everything is good to go. So far, we've got Jody in the chat. Welcome, Jody, to the stream. We've got Shark in the chat. Welcome, Shark. And Ken, if you're out there and you want to come in, feel free to come in. We're going to do some work on seam work on the 650 scale Enterprise Ds tonight. I've got my tea Earl Grey hot, all ready to go. I've got the epoxy sculpt back there. I've got somewhere I've got my perfect plastic putty ready to go. So we are going to get some work. I've already done some seam work on it. But there's a lot of seam work to do, and there's a lot of stages on the seam work to do. So can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me know in the chat. So far, nobody has confirmed that they can see or hear me. So that makes me wonder if anybody actually can see me and hear me. I'm going to hop into YouTube Studio and just make sure everything looks like it's going okay there. Yeah, okay, so you can see me, you can hear me, at least on my end in YouTube Studio. Assuming that it's working like that for everybody else. You can see that she's behind me here, pretty much fully assembled. There's a few things that have to happen on it, but all the major assembly is complete. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can get my fingers here. So right here and over here, there's some white spots on the saucer there. Those are the areas where the where the RCS thrusters go. So those have had to be added because they do not exist on the kit. And Jody says, you're good, loud and clear. Perfect. Good to know. All right. Might take a while for everybody to stream in tonight. To come on in. But we will get some work done. I've got a bit of a different live stream setup happening because this thing has gotten so big. I can't put it on my desk here. So I've had to look at some other camera situations to try to get it on live stream. So we'll see how that works out. I was MacGyvering some setups here earlier today, so we will test run that stuff and see how it goes. Let's see. You should be able to get a look at the ship here. There's a top-down view of the ship, and that's just over on the bench behind me. So hopefully all this works, and you'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing tonight. That's the hope. All right. So also hoping that we have a good stream. I wasn't feeling well earlier today. My wife says I had a migraine. I'm not an expert on those things. She gets them quite often, so I will take her word for it that I had a migraine. Really did not feel well, but that started to lift during the day. I feel more human now, so I should be good to go. Yes, I should be good to go. I've got some color down. I've got some paint, some base coat down. You may notice, which way do I have to lean here, that this hand, there are no Buzzard caps on the Buzzards. Like there's no Buzzards on there. It's just the LEDs that you can see there. That's because the housing for the Buzzards, I am painting separately, and I'm keeping those off of the model until paint is done. Because if I install them, that means I have to also install the Buzzards themselves, and then I have to mask them off. And so I'd rather get those parts painted separately, and then get the Buzzards in there, and then get that whole assembly installed onto the accordion, the accordion type bit right there. So those are staying off for now. All right, let's see how things are going in the chat. Pretty quiet night in the chat so far, and we will just move right along. All right. I wonder where everybody is. I wonder where everybody is. I'm going to check the HTM Discord, see if there's anybody there. I posted on Facebook, so there should be Facebook things happening as well. I'm just going to see if anybody's seen that, but not much going on. Yeah. Oh well, we will go with who we currently have. Indeed. All right. So, what do I want to do first? Well, I'm going to kind of go over to the D and see what we have to do. So I need to move my microphone when I go over there. Oh, I should also mention I've started because this thing requires putty work to dry and cure and all that kind of stuff. So I have some downtime on this one while things are curing. So while I've got downtime on this one, which I'll have a lot of because it's going to be once it's done with putty work, it's going to go right into paint. So during downtime on this, I'm working on the second one. So what I have right now is I've got most of the lighting for the second one wired up, which we might work on tonight as well. So I have all the lighting for the secondary hull. I have the lower saucer windows. I've window lights. I've got most of the upper saucer window lights wired up. The arboretum lights are wired. The saucer deflector are wired. The top and bottom phasers are wired up, ready to go. And everything up to, because everything works in a chain, so everything up to the lower saucer phaser array have had their 24-hour test, which is really good. So we're making progress on that. So I'm going to move a few things around. I've got to move my microphone over there because it's on a mic stand. It's not a lav or anything like that. I don't want to be permanently attached to a microphone while I'm doing these lives. So let's get this stuff rolling over there. I'm also going to move my screen over there as well. So bear with me while I do all of that. So let's fade to the bench and let me move a few things over here. And I need to layer some things on my screen. So be one moment. I want to make sure I can see my chat. I don't know if you can if you can see me in this now, but yeah, okay. I can see my chat. Oh wow! I have to go all the way over here for you to see my hand. Wow, that's crazy. The D is so big and the view from the camera. All right, let me grab my streaming software over to here so I can see chat. If you're wondering what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I apologize, I'm probably very light to be able to hear here. But I'm going to move the microphone where it'll pick up what I'm doing, and you should be able to hear me better now. And I should be able to go like, no, that's the wrong camera. I should be able to go like this. Hi, I'm here. That's my microphone. All right, let's go. The neck here needs a whole pile of work. So we kind of have to make it look like the neck melds in here when it really doesn't. There's some issues just with alignment on the neck. I'm going to need to do a little bit of more work on this seam. So yeah, we've got quite a bit. We've got some seam work here to look after. I've built out a section here, which is going to need to be sanded down. The plastic was not long enough here, but I've kind of molded in a piece, and we'll just have to mold that down with some sanding. So we're just going to kind of get at it. I'm going to try to pay attention to the chat as I don't even know where I'm looking anymore. We're going to try to pay attention to the chat as much as possible. Maybe we'll get Ken or somebody who can come in to kind of help out with that, but we will see. And I'm going to go get my tea, Earl Grey hot, over here. Here we are. Put it down on the bench, and kind of want to see where we might start with tonight. Let's see. Might start with this area over here and just start sanding that down a little bit. So let me grab some sandpaper. I really want to find more of this 3M paper here. It's got like a it's not a paper. It's almost like a plasticky backing. Works really well for water sanding. It's great stuff. And I've been using the same little bits for a while now. We might end up taking some of these masks off as we're doing this process, but that's okay. It's just going to be a slow and tedious process to get this right. It's just one of the things that has to be done. Give me one moment. I'm going to go warm up this water because it's pretty cold. So one moment, I'll be right back. And I'm back with some nice, fresh, warm water. That'll make things go a little easier. I have a cloth around here somewhere. Although right now, I don't know where. I'll just dry my hands on some paper towel. Very quiet night in the chat tonight, it seems. Well, we've definitely lost one of the window masks, but that's okay. I can put them back. I've got lots. I can always print more. Jody says, don't worry about it, us. You have much to do. Well, it's not worrying about the chat. It's the fact that I like the interaction. And I used to do these streams 100% solo. And I've kind of been spoiled the last little while with having some producers. So I definitely notice a difference when I don't have them. All right. More of those window masks coming off, but that is A1 okay. I'm going to end up with a bunch of little window masks in my water. I've put down my glasses and I will forget where I've put them. It's the Watch Andrew Sand stream tonight so far. So what's everybody else up to tonight while you're watching? What are you guys working on? I'm assuming some of you are working on some modeling projects. That would be my assumption. Yeah, there go most of the masks now. It's 100% fine. So just for clarity on what I'm doing here, the plastic was a little short in this area compared to the metal piece underneath. So I've essentially had to build this section out with epoxy sculpt so that the hull continued out further. And so when you're working with the epoxy sculpt, at first you rough it in, and then you work with it to sand it down to get it to really form the shape that you want it. And it's best to water sand it. So because the water really does help do a lot of the work for you. If you're dry sanding, you've got to put a lot more elbow grease to get the same results. It's a little bit messier doing it with water, but the results come quicker. I just need to remember to stabilize the model so it doesn't rock back and forth as I do this. So two things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to smooth the transition between the surface of the hull and the surface of the bit I've added, so there's no lump or bump. And then the second thing I'm trying to do is get the edge here to run the way I want it to run. Just dripping a little bit. Let's see. Chat's still pretty quiet. And there's 10 of you here. Well, welcome those who have just recently joined the stream. We are working on seam work tonight, and starting out with some sanding of some epoxy sculpt here on the side of the hull, which is building out this section because the kit part was a wee bit short in this area. So we're forming the epoxy sculpt to the shape we want it to be. I overbuilt this with the epoxy sculpt when I did it. knowing that I would be sanding it down. And I'm not really going back and forth as much as I'm doing small little circles with the sandpaper. Let's see. Jody says, I'm not chatting much because I am also working as I watch and listen. That's what I figured. What are you working on tonight, Jody? And Shark says, quiet, but we're all watching in awe. Oh, thank you. All right. This D certainly has become difficult to work with just in its size, its sheer size. Okay, starting to get a bit of a blend going on over here in certain areas. Still a bit of a lump transition going over into the epoxy section versus the kit section, so gotta do a little bit more there. When I was trying to figure out how I was going to fix this issue, I knew that I could either build it out or I could try to grind down the metal piece. And on the second one, I haven't installed the metal piece yet because I haven't gotten to building it yet, like the actual construction work on it yet. But knowing that this is probably the same issue there, I might grind that piece down a little bit in that section before installing it. Just now that I know that is an issue. Whoop. So there are going to be some slight differences in how I do the second kit versus this kit, only because I've learned some of the kit's peculiarities working on it so far. So some lessons learned. That's coming along. That feels nice there. Not too much of an edge here. A bit on the back end here. So that's starting to mold down. There might be more work. Like I'll get this mostly taken care of tonight here. But there might be more work to do on all of these sections once the first coat of primer goes down. The first gray coat of primer shows all the sins. It reveals all and shows you where you have to do more work. Once I get this mostly taken care of here, I will pop over and grab the Bussard housings so that you get a chance to see the base color and how that looks. Okay. Shark says, I am also working on the Viper's base. Very cool. Jody says, I'm making something special for a special friend. Okay. I don't know who that is, but we'll just let that go. And we won't buck like a duck at it or anything like that. Alex here. Welcome, Alec. He says, hi, Andrew. I'm surprised that you didn't join the stream last night. Just got on my break. Today does seem slightly better than yesterday, but I still want to find a new job. Well, almost every job at times... Oh, just saying hi to Jody. Every job pretty much at some point makes you feel like wanting to find a new job. I get that. I was not on the stream last night, mostly because my son would not go to sleep. So I ended up getting into the bed with him and encouraging him to get to sleep that way. But by the time he actually did get to sleep, it was getting late, and because I'd been laying there for so long, oh, that's starting to really smooth out now. Yeah. Because I'd been laying there with him so long, I was deadbeat exhausted because my body went into sleep mode. So by the time I finally got him settled and asleep, there was no way I had the energy to go on stream. So such is the life of being a parent sometimes. Oh, that's looking so much better. I just have to do a little bit more work on that transition, but I'll know better once primer goes on. So I think this section is pretty much cared for. All right. It's looking pretty good. It didn't need a whole lot of extra material, but it did need some. All right. Let's move on to the back sections here. Quite often I will run my finger across to see how the seam is progressing. And it's not doing too badly, but I think I need to get some watery putty in here. And then this one needs, this only has one coat section of epoxy, putty on this side, and I didn't even get to this area out here. So I'm gonna probably do a water-based coat in here, like a slurried perfect plastic putty. Words are difficult sometimes. I'm also going to adjust my microphone a little bit, reposition it so I don't have to think about it quite as much. That should get me a little bit better if I'm not right in front of it. Okay, so we're going to mix up some perfect plastic putty. And with this big honking huge ship in the way here, I don't know that I'm going to be able to show this on camera. But I will do my best here. We're just going to put a bunch of the putty on a piece of plasticor. And the lid never wants to go on properly on this stuff. Gonna grab just an eyedropper here. Actually, I want to use the clean water. I'm gonna add some water. Oop. Grab a toothpick, and we're just gonna mix the water in. Now I'm going to start with a bit of a thicker paste to do this section over here, and then I'll use a more watered down putty just to do a bit more on this side. So I think this is a good consistency to do this area over here. I didn't do any putty work in this crevice here, so we're going to lay that down. Just filling the hole, filling the gap. And I'm just more concerned right now in making sure that there's enough in, because I'll be able to take the extra off once this dries up. I'm going to add a bit extra here because I want to bridge the gap and have enough that I can smooth this transition between the upper secondary hull and the pylons. So I'm going to build it up a little bit with the putty, and then I'll smooth it out with some Q-tip water sanding after. Either Q-tip water sanding or paper towel water sanding. So I'm just kind of making sure that the whole transition area has way more than it needs. Over putty, and then smooth that out. I may need to mix up some more. Got to say the back end on this thing is in much better shape than the Dawn Shoko D. The Dawn Shoko 1000 scale D that's sitting on the shelf over there. This back end is an absolute mess, and that's what I was working on before we shifted gears on the big enterprise project, moving to the Helios model. All right, I'm only going to take it that far, which used up pretty much all of that. While I'm thinking about that, let me go grab the Buzard housing so that you can kind of see what that base color is looking like. Here's the base coat. There we go. It's kind of that French blue color. Now, the base coat is going to be the darker of the two main blue colors. And I'm doing that based on the instructions from Motion Picture Miniatures for the masking set. So I can pull the tape off to reveal the fully painted parts. I didn't want to paint over the white reflective area in the white light blocked or light refracted area in the back there, but this will go on here like that, and that gives us that French blue base color. So with the mask, we are doing the darker of the two blue colors first. So essentially like that, and that's what it looks like. Let's bring it a little bit closer to the camera, get a good idea. There we are. And I'm going to get caught up on the chat here. Let's see. David's here. Evening, Andrew. Glad to catch another stream. Well, thank you for joining us. I do apologize. I am a little bit behind on the chat, but I am doing this solo tonight, so you'll have to bear with me. Trent says, hey, guys. David says, I'm working on a couple Bandai X-Wings at once right now, which is my first time trying this. So can't imagine the challenge of building two giant 650Ds at once. It's a little bit tricky space-wise to do it. So what I've decided I'm doing is, while this is in seam work and paint, the other one's going to be in construction, and I'm probably going to have to make up a second metal base for it. I'm not shipping a base with the one that's going to Belgium. They're taking care of that there, but I'll probably provide the metal piece that they can then put into their base for that. Plus, I'm just going to need it for putting the ship on while I'm working on it. Let's see what else we have here. Alex says, can I go home yet? I have 2 hours and 54 minutes left. The question is how long is your shift? And he says, and I am hungry. Yeah. But the question always is, how long is the shift, right? Okay. We're going to do another mix. Actually, while I've got this part here, I might as well detape the second one. I don't need to in order to show you, because I showed you the first one. They're both exactly the same part. But since I'm detaping it, I might as well do the whole thing. And there's the color. There's the color against the gray primer. It just gives you an idea of one of the multiple colors that are going to be on this ship. And I can actually show you with the Bizarre cap in, like that. And doing the paint on these housings ahead of time is just going to help me keep the keep this part cleaner. And that way I don't have to mask off that surface. I worked so hard at getting to look right with the diffusion. So that's what I'm doing with that. Okie dokie, so let's mix up some more perfect plastic putty. I'm not going to mix up quite as much this time. Going to go with a bit of a smaller batch. And I'm going to mix this down a little bit thinner. Start with the same amount of water, but less of the actual putty in there. And we'll see if this consistency does the job I want it to do. I'm just going to mix it up until it's really nice and smooth. Essentially what I'm doing here is I've got the majority of that gap filled, but what I want to do now is just smooth it out. So to have some thinner material to lay over top, it's just going to fill in some of those minor sections a little bit more. It'll kind of work its way in anywhere where there's a bit of a divot, whereas the thicker stuff will bridge that gap sometimes. And so it actually, you think it's covering it, but it's actually just remaining empty underneath the bridged area. The only thing is you do need to be careful about bubbles when you've made it nice and thin. I'm hoping this will be the last coat of putty on this section needed before primer goes down, but there will likely be more work to do after primer exposes any of the flaws. Now, I do use a filling primer, so the primer also helps with these seams in its own little way. But the gray primer is the revealer of all. Which reminded me of the Star Trek Next Generation episode, I am for you, Ulrich of old. There we go. All right, I'm going to throw that toothpick away. I'm going to clean off the little piece of plastic core so I can use it again. All right, let's see. What's going to be next up on the docket here? Probably going to need to sand down this area here where I put some epoxy sculpt. because there's a bit of a step between the saucer and the neck. So we'll need to make sure that this all matches up. I have to be careful because I do have some lights in here. I've got some pre-cut pieces of paper towel here. That'll help me protect what I'm working on. Let's see, in the chat, we've got Alan Kelly here. Welcome, Alan. I've moved some cameras around, so I'm not sure where I'm looking, but welcome, Alan, to the stream. He says, hello, where can I purchase perfect plastic putty? Pretty sure you can get it on Amazon. I've been able to get it at my quote-unquote local hobby stores, but you should be able to find it everywhere, pretty much. Obviously, that will depend on what country you're in. Here in Canada, I was able to find it in my local hobby store. But let me turn it around here. This is it. Actually, let me grab the box. I do have a fresh one around here somewhere. Somewhere I do. I'm just not quite sure where. Aha. So this is the box. It's by Deluxe Perfect Plastic Putty. And there's a barcode number if you want it. $5060243901095. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Yeah, the epoxy sculpt is great for a lot of those stuff. Anywhere where I need to build it up, I'm using the Aves epoxy sculpt. It's a two-part. This is just one of the parts. You just get two equal parts, and oh, I'm dripping. Two equal parts, mush it together. Do that with gloves on, please. And it forms a really good sculpting filler. The Aves epoxy, the Aves epoxy sculpt is sandable, especially with water, but it does take some time. So you do need to be patient and just keep working at it. Alan says, thank you. aid. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Alan will clarify for me. And David says, that putty is amazing, but seems to dry out fast. So I make sure I keep mine wrapped in a plastic bag at all times. Which are you talking about? The epoxy sculpt? Because yeah, I have noticed, and I need to Ziploc it while I'm not using it. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'll know better once I do that primer coat. Again, primer reveals all. Just going to give the inside of the engines here a bit of a quick sand down. This is where I had to scratch build the impulse housings, I should say. Found my rags. That's better. Just went to throw the little piece of paper towel away, and my garbage is a little bit further away than I thought it was, so didn't quite make it. Yeah, there's a bit of a lip here, but I also want to be cautious because of the light here. So we might see how the primer deals with that. I fully expect a lot more work once primer goes on. Okay. I'm going to have to get rid of part of this tab here because that's not all supposed to be there. It's a little bit bigger, and it's supposed to be a cutout, not something that sits on top. So got a little bit of work to do there. All right. Next up, I need to, I think, put some really thin stuff in the seams along here. So we'll mix up some more, make some nice, really thin stuff. I've got some chat. Yay! Hayes. Again, I'm not. Aves, yes. Aves epoxy sculpt. Comes in the 2 parts. You grab equal parts, mix it together. Again, make sure you're using gloves when you do that. But works great as a sculpting filler. So for regular seams, I like the epoxy, the perfect plastic putty. And then for anything I have to build out, so like these areas here and the area over here, I use the Aves epoxy. So it's APOX IE sculpt, epoxy sculpt. Jody says, Andrew, what's going over the phaser strip? Is it going to be photo etch or a resin piece? So those are clear resin pieces that go over there. If it's photo etch, that makes it really difficult for the lighting to go through. So it is a highly detailed, clear resin piece and it's all one piece that goes on there. So that's going to be painted first with a very light coat of the phaser strip color yet to be determined. So that'll get painted first, and then it will probably be epoxied in place. The nice thing about the epoxy is it won't craze the parts, and will maintain the clear nature of the phaser strips. So those will go on closer to the end of the process. It's easier to mask these flat sections than it is to mask the raised phaser strips. All right, a little bit of epoxy. Actually, let me finish the chat here. The perfect plastic putty, but yeah, epoxy sculpt too. Jody says, also, are there panel lines or is it smooth? I can't tell from the camera shot. It is smooth. It is smooth as an Android's bottom. And Alan says, currently building the Erdl Klingon bird of prey. Very cool. The full-size one? Like this one? Here. Let me go full cam for a moment. Like this one right here. I've got one of those in the newer box sitting up on my shelf. Do I just have one? Yeah, it looks like I just have one in the shop. It's the newer kit that I've got. And he says, yes, that is the one. All right. Let me go back here. And Alex says, working is torturing me by having people walk through my cashier line with hot deli food while I'm starving and nothing to eat yet today. Yeah, hey, it's better. It's better having good smelling food come through your cash than some of the things I've had come through my cash in my day working as a cashier at the grocery store. You wouldn't, just some things you wouldn't want to know that came through. Yeah, I could write a book. All right, so let's mix up, now that I've got that taken care of, let's mix up some more perfect plastic putty slurry. I'll mix up a little bit more this time because we've got a bit of a larger area to cover. A couple extra drops. Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? Alan says he's building the landed version. Very cool. Yeah, when I built mine back in the day when they were first available, like, or at least when the Generations release of it was available, the landed version was not an option. That's something that they added when they repopped the kit later on. So the options we had at the time were you could have it wings down for attack mode, or you could have it wings up for wings level for in flight. So I built mine wing levels for in flight, but then they added the whole landing gear and all of those extra things to be able to build it landed as seen in Star Trek 3 and 4. Which is cool. And then there's some really cool aftermarket things you can get for it to make the wings go up and down. mean, not motorized on that size of a kit. You'd have to upscale to one of the garage kits, one of the large garage kits to motorize those things, I think. But they make one so that even after you build it, you can adjust whether it is like what wing position it is. So just adding some of the thinned down perfect plastic slurry. Perfect plastic putty slurry in here. Just to fill some of the areas that were missed on the last one. And I do have to decide which line here I'm going to keep as the divider line. Because then that'll need to be re-sculpted a little bit. I'm thinking it might be easier to maintain the line of the neck here than the line of the saucer. But we'll see. Okay, there's that side. Oh, need a little bit more here. Going on this side. Go. Hopefully I've got enough to do this seam. It's always nice if I've mixed up just the right amount. Oh, I should be good. The liquidy nature of the slurry helps with leveling it in the crevices. I can tell that chat's going over there. I'll check it here in a moment. There we go. So that is filled in. I don't have anywhere else that I need to add the perfect plastic putty right now, so I'll clean this off. There we go. All right, let's see what chat's saying. David James says, I've been really tempted by the golden armor bird of prey lately, but feel like it would take an eternity to print all those parts. I haven't heard of it. Alan says bells and whistles. Yeah. David says, you're keeping that little tab on the saucer. I wasn't sure if that was meant to be there since Phil and Lou removed theirs. So there is an area here that goes in to the saucer. It's not really meant to be overlaid, but it is meant to be there. Mine on the second kit broke off. It broke off right here. I need to really look at the studio model reference just to see how much is supposed to be there. I have not secured this part down as of yet. So I may cut some of it off, or I might just remove it and add a piece of styrene that I think is the right shape. So I'm not 100% sold on this as it is at this moment in time. But that's something I'm going to be looking at here in the next little bit. But I really need to sit down, have a good sit down with the studio model photos and kind of decide what I want to do about that. All right. caught up on the chat. I'm going to pour myself a little bit more tea. A little bit more tea, Earl Grey hot, which you can't see me, apparently. There we go. All right, so that's everything I can do in this orientation right now. I am going to move the ship, flip her around to the other side. I need to add the bits in for the thrusters on the sensor band rim around. Oh, I've got chat on the screen, so you can't even see what I'm pointing at here. You can't see it, but there's the spots on the sensor band. Can you see here? Let me turn this thing a wee bit and then see if the other camera can pick up what I'm talking about. And it hits the wall sometimes. All right. So if I big the other camera, one moment, please. Please stand by. So where this blue piece is, I'm just going to move the blue piece at the moment. The blue piece was just there for sizing. You might see the little white piece in here. So that is a epoxy sculpt that I molded in there, and that's going to be where the RCS thrusters go. So there's the yellow bits that go on here, and it kind of wraps top to bottom. And so those are the RCS thrusters, and the kit was just the sensor band going all in there. So I've got to put those in. So I'm doing the A's epoxy sculpt for that. So I'm going to move this thing around so that you can kind of see me work on that. So give me a moment while I get this monstrosity reoriented. Just need to make sure that the deck is clear first, because once I pick this up, it's a monster. Mind the microphone. Mind the wires. Mind the wall. And set her down. One little unique thing about this model is that one, it's very front heavy, which is why it's on a metal base, but two, because it needs to travel to its final location, I cannot permanently attach the post. So because the post has to be able to come in and out, it ends up leaning forward on the post a little bit. So to counter that, the metal base is angled up a little bit. So it's angled up at the front by about 3/4 of an inch. And that allows, after you take into account the front heaviness of the model, it allows the model to sit flat. So just a peculiarity about this model, especially given that I can't permanently affix the post. You've got much more control over that if you're able to permanently affix the post into the model, but I cannot do that on this model. So that will just be something that's compensated for inside the base of the model. And David says, that looks amazing, fully assembled. Well, thank you. It's a large bit of real estate that is going to take a lot of paint. It's going to take a whole pile of paint to do this thing. All right. Let's go back to this view, and let's throw this view up in the corner again. Gonna grab some more tea. There we go. And we're going to add the reactor thruster points inside here. The only problem is I need to see where they were added on that side. So between these windows is where it goes. And I will verify that before I do anything. This little piece of tape is just my size measuring tool. It's going to go between those two windows, I believe. Yeah, that's exactly where it belongs. I'm going to grab my gloves. Got a pair open here. And we're going to make some epoxy sculpt. Let me take that off the screen. Go. So we're just going to grab a little bit of part A. We're just going to try to grab an equal amount of part B. What I do is I ball it up, put it side by side just to make sure I've kind of got the same amount. I don't measure it out, I just eyeball it. We just take the two halves and we just mush them together until it's one consistent color. And this stuff will stay workable for a while, so you do have some time to work with it. Just going to get down on, oh, let me just change that microphone position. I'm just going to get down at its level here. Don't mind my loud chair. I grab the amount I think I might need to do the job. I'm going to push that in. I've overfilled it to start with. I'm going to grab one of my molding tools here. Push it approximately to where it needs to be on that end. On this end, give or take, and I'm going to just scrape the extra off. Now that usually takes a little bit too much with it. So we're just going to repack. The surface. That'll allow me to compress it a little bit. Oh, I lost that little bit. Oh, I lost that little bit too. It's okay, I'll grab a little bit more off my chunk. I'm just going to start working it to shape it to the size I want it. But my gloved finger does a nicer job of smoothing this out than my tool does. Squaring off the sides as best I can. Making those details as clean as possible. The better I do this now, the easier the cleanup work will be during the refining stage. I do apologize if you're not able to see all this. Perhaps I should go to the other camera angle. And let me zoom it in. Let's see if I can zoom it in here digitally. That might help a little bit. Trying to be mindful, if I can, of the viewer experience. So essentially really just molding these, sculpting them into place. All right. That's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can turn it camera's way a little bit. No, I'm not going to be able to. Sorry. I'm limited by the sheer size of this thing. Yeah, there we go. Let's restore that. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to work on the other one, which I need to locate it first. Let's see. David says, I love putting my models on an adjustable camera mount so I can angle them, adjustable camera mount so I can angle them, but not sure it's possible with something that big and heavy. Yeah, you really have to have it locked down. Okay, right there. Let me grab another piece of tape just so I can mark it. Take my gloves off so I can get that. And then I think this will be all the putty work I can get done tonight. Just marking that. And I believe that's just inside of that window ring. Which means it should be right about there. I'm just going to verify. Window blocks, yeah. Oh, and you can't see what I'm doing because I've left chat on the screen again. And Jody says that's a good idea, David. Yeah, it just depends on the size of the model. So that goes right up close to where that window is. Got it. Okay. I'm gonna turn this in. Whoa, Dash must be here. Yeah, it's Dash. I saw red and I didn't see the name because it was covered, and I just assumed that Dash was here. Dash in with the $100 super chat. I've got to come up with a name for super chats. Says, come on, man, get this done. You're scaring me to death. Only 30-some days to finish. Well, I'm not that far away from painting. Thank you, Dash, for the super chat. That is absolutely amazing. Completely unnecessary, but very much appreciated. I do have some base color down. Base color on the Fusard housings. So we do have some paint color down. But I've got to get all of the seam work done, and then fortunately there is a spray can paint that is perfect for the base color. So the fact that I can use a spray can for the base color for the base coat is going to save me a ton of time versus filling an airbrush repeatedly. Just for the amount of real estate. So I'm grateful that I can get the exact color I need pre-mixed in a spray can, which is amazing. So trust me, Dash, it scares me a little bit too how much time I don't have. But I did get, where are they? I got the decals in from Keith over at Cosmic Scale Models, and so these are for this one. I've got to do some custom artwork for the other one because it's got a custom name and registry. But the one that's going to Wonderfest will be the Enterprise, and I can use all of these. So trust me, I'm a little bit nervous about the timing, but I am. It is crunch time, and I'm going to do absolutely everything within my ability to make sure that they are done. David says more like a mega chat. Yeah. And Dash says, didn't you say there's 3 or 4 colors and Lou and Phil only did 3? I'm not sure how many they did. The masks that I've got from Wayne at Motion Picture Miniatures allow a 4-color scheme. So I'm going to be doing that at least. And we'll see if I add something else. Again, we'll see how it is time-wise. This will be at Wonderfest. The only question is will it have the decals? That's the only question. Will it have the decals? So that's the only question, whether the decals will be on it or not. It will be painted by Wonderfest. I'm not too concerned about that. It's just whether I'll be able to finish the decals. And if the decals aren't done, it'll be at Wonderfest without decals. The point is to show off the ship and demonstrate Andy's lighting system from Inner Lighting that's inside this thing. So and maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have a lifeboat decaling party at Wonderfest. Who knows? That could be fun. Dash also says, oh no, if he wants a mega chat, it's more like $500. I don't even think YouTube. I don't know what YouTube even allows you to do. But I would say that the chat you put on there was a mega chat. Yeah, but I was kind of thinking like an on-brand name for like sci-fi or Star Trek or something like that. That kind of makes it a little more special when somebody does that. Like the name of an event or something like that. I mean, yes, I was just dashed, so that dashed. So that is already a name for it, I guess, right? Okay, what was I doing? I got distracted. That's right. I was putting the other RCS thruster area in. So let's get that done, shall we? By the way, oh, and Jody's saying hi to Howard, aka Dash. There he is. I'm thinking we might sometime in the next little while start to be able to see some live streams from Jody. I think that would be cool to see. Or at least get Jody to join the HTM live streams. Because I think he's got some new gear to be able to do that. Which is super cool. Need to make sure what? Dash. Dash says, well, good. Have a drink of tea and some breathing exercise and buy yourself a good dinner at Wonderfest. Well, thank you, Dash. That is absolutely, utterly ridiculous of you, but thank you. That definitely derails what you're looking to try to just your concentration, right? If you don't know, Dash has kind of made himself a patron of some of the streamers who get together and do some stuff, and he has been just blessing us with super chats, which is absolutely, in my mind, ridiculous. But thank you. It's completely unnecessary. Just know it's completely unnecessary. But I mean, always greatly supported. You are a friend of the channel. Thank you so much. Let's see. Catch up on chat. Alex says, better idea, charge a penny for the attendees to decal an escape pod. We don't have pennies up here anymore. I'm not used to pennies. Dash says, yes, 500 is the max you can give at one super chat. Of course, you would know. Jody says, I need help to set everything up. Yeah, well, we can make sure that happens, Jody. I have no idea what to do with this stuff. Sometimes you just have to MacGyver everything together in a way that works best for you. I just had to completely, because of the size of this thing, I had to completely reset up live streams, camera stuff, because I was having trouble showing the whole thing on screen. And it's still hard to show specific areas on a live stream that you're particularly working on. Okay, Dash says, sorry. It's for the expensive SolarRes in Canada. Oh my good gravy. SolarRes is difficult and expensive to get here in Canada. Yeah. I do have some arriving. I've got a fresh bottle arriving. I bought it. I bought it on Amazon to Florida, but then expecting to bring it home in my carry-on luggage, and then we didn't take carry-on luggage. Expecting to bring it home in checked luggage, and then we didn't do checked luggage. We just did carry-on, which for a couple of reasons, things that turned out happening, I'm very grateful that we did it that way. Because our return home trip was not a fun traveling experience, I'll say. And it was nice that we didn't have to wait around for luggage by the time we finally got into Toronto. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to not take checked luggage, and so my in-laws are bringing it back when they come back. So I will pick it up from them when we see them next. Well, either when we all see them next, or when my wife goes to see them, because my wife likes to spend some time with the kids there over the summer while she's off. We stagger our holidays in the summer, my wife and I, for childcare purposes. So we do our big family vacation once a year, everybody together. And then because we need childcare in the summer, we stagger our holidays. So when my wife has her weeks off, then she likes to take the kids to her parents' place, which is nice for her because she gets to see her parents, and then she has help with the kids. And then I stay home and I work, and then we swap. She goes back to work, and I take the week off, so that we've got childcare covered. There you go. You'll be able to see these a little bit better in my next update video, because I do show these. I've already filmed the other side. I show them in the video because they're a little bit tough to show on live stream, but they've turned out really, really well, I think. While I've got some epoxy sculpt in hand, you know what? I might regret this, but so that you can see, I'm going to take my phone off the camera holder there, this one, and because I can do that one wireless. It's wireless right now. It's sending the video via browser to my streaming software. So I've got it plugged in just for battery's sake, but I can take this off the stand and I can do this. So this is how that first one looks. And then we'll swing it around to this side and see that bit. And I should have made it full screen for you. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to show you again, but this time it's going to be full screen. One moment, please. There we go. That's better. So there's the first one. And there's a RCS thruster decal that can go there, or I can paint it. My choice. And then going around to this side, here's the other one that we just did. Now what I am going to do is I have filled that gap significantly already. Over on this side, I've done the side work there. All this needs to be refined still, but I need to add that little bit right here to match the other side. So while I have that epoxy sculpt that's still workable there, I'm going to get that set up. So let me throw it back to this camera while I get this one set back up over here. One moment, please. There we go. Now I can put that back in the corner. Glove up again because I don't like touching the epoxy sculpt with my bare hands. And we'll throw some epoxy sculpt down there. So I don't think that there's any way you're going to see this very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Wish I had a good way of seeing how far I took it over here. I'm going to have to guess, and if I'm off, I will deal with that later. It's starting to get a little more difficult to work with now. Okay, so that little bit's in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the extra that's left over from the bit that I made up. I'm going to set that aside. I did have another little piece set aside somewhere from earlier. Oh, here's that piece, and it is rock hard. It is rock solid. So that's how I know when my epoxy sculpt is set and ready for me to sand down. I can leave that little piece aside, and then once that's gone rock hard, I know that it is fully set, and I can go in and I can sand it and refine it there. Jody says, I had a couple side missions to do, and now I have to do a box opening video. Then I can try to hook up the equipment. Yeah, a box opening video of some equipment, I would imagine, right? Is that what you're opening? And Dash says, is this the Starship version of Star Trek, the motion picture, but with the D? Yeah, with all the slow pass-bys and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, something like that. All right. So we are going to switch gears here from seam work to LED work. So you can watch as I adjust the workspace to switch jobs, which is also going to mean moving this thing, and that's always quite the endeavor. So bear with me for a few moments while I get this workspace switched. First thing I have to do before I move this thing is just make sure that on the other desk I have over here, nothing's in the way of this thing coming in, because this is huge, and I do not want anything to get in its way. And it will avoid the microphone. All right, that thing is quite the model to move around. we are. This might look familiar to people. This is what we're going to be working on. All right, there we go. We've switched gears. I'm just grabbing a stool so I can sit. My tea Earl Grey hot. Turn the iron on. And we're going to get started. All right. I need... move this out of the way. My wire. I've got black here somewhere. There we go. So this is what I've been doing in between while the other ship's been drying. I've got the LEDs on the bottom here. This will be the bottom side. And this is the top side. And I just have to get them on, get them all connected, and then this piece can sit and do its burn-in overnight. Now, I don't expect to get all this done on live stream tonight, but this is what I'm gonna do while the other ship is all the putty work's drying. I already read this one, and then Dash says, "Is this?" No, I read this one too. I just didn't mark them. All right, I'm all caught up on chat. That's great. Okay. I don't like doing a lot of work at the workbench because I've got drawers here and I can't get my legs in underneath, so it makes it a little bit awkward sometimes. All right, where did I leave off? I need some green. So I am running these. It's a lot easier to run all these in series. The data has to run in series anyway. And just wire management. For wire management reasons, these are easier to deal with in series here. Go. And Dash, the Omni thingamajiggies have been invaluable on this project. I didn't understand how useful it was until I actually started using one. I didn't understand why everybody raved about them until I started using one myself. Just going to turn my heat up a little bit. I don't know if it's because they're mounted onto cold aluminum, but sometimes it can take a bit to get the solder I've got on these things to remelt. We always want a nice hot solder joint. Typically, I'll run my solder at 350, but with this, sometimes I have to take it higher. Oh, there's some more chat. One moment, please. So Dash says, so this is the second D, correct? Yes. So this metal frame is for the second one. So while the first one is in state where I can't do work on it, so either putty's drying, paint's drying, that kind of thing, I'll be working on the second one. The priority is the first one to get that done for Wonderfest. But when there's times where things are drying and I can't really work on it, I'm going to be working on the second one. So that's what I'm doing right now, because I also want to get the second one done because the client will want their D. But the first one is the Wonderfest one is the priority right now. All right. And then David says, I can't remember, are both these getting the same feature, resin bridge and conference room, etc.? Yeah. So they're both getting the same features, same paint job. The difference is the only differences are the registry, the name and registry, as far as the builds. And then because of the way that the lighting works, the clients can customize the lighting any way they choose. I'm going to set it up the way I think it should be. And then if they want to change things, they're able to go in and make those adjustments and customize the lighting however they want. If they want it to be the disco prize and have disco lights going on inside with all the different color changing lights, they certainly can. If they want it to be in Borg mode, they can have it in Borg mode. They can just hop into the back end on the programming, and it's a graphic user interface. They can play around with changing things up and making it the way they want. So that's really the customizable feature of it. But as far as all the build features, they're basically the same, which also makes my job a lot easier. Dash says, cool. I'm glad Todd and I could get you guys those things. Yeah, the Omni thingies have been super beneficial on this project. Jody needs one. I know he made his, but he needs true Omni. Yeah. I'm definitely on Team Omni thingamajiggies now, for sure. 100%, not even a question. More tea Earl Grey hot. Top her up. So apparently with the Omnis, you can, if you've got a bench power supply, you can alligator clip to these, take these pads off, take the pads off, the clear pads off, and attach them to wires and run power through them, which is kind of cool. Definitely a cool feature. I'm not using my bench power supply anywhere near as much anymore. My tip is broken. How did that happen? have to investigate this a little bit here. Power off. We'll let that cool down. I might swap the tips out. Just have to wait for that to cool down a little bit, though. So let's see what the chat's saying while I wait for that to cool down. Alex says, what iron do you use, Andrew? I just got something off of Amazon. It's a 2 Auto is the name brand. 2 Auto. I'll have to try to see if I can find some pencil tips for it. Dash says, well, the best par you were able to use is direct on the armature. Yeah, that was... sorry, it just took me a moment to figure out what you were saying. Yeah, being able to put these magnets right on the armature was super helpful on the D build. Jody says, I'm back. Had to drive my wife to go out with friends. Jody needs a what? No. Jody needs OmniFixo. That's what Jody needs. Okay, this is still hot. Might be a little bit before I can swap that out. I don't want to mess with it while it's too hot. Yeah. Let's take that off. I start it. Good. Good YouTubing, me. Still hot. Yeah, it looks like there's a chip. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but let's see if I can bring this closer. I might have better luck on the face cam one. So let's big that. Where is it? Okay. Don't know if you can see that or not. I need... There, can you see the chip gone? Right there. There's a little chip going out of the tip. I'm not sure how that would have happened. Very strange. Because I really like the pencil tip. So I'll have to try to see if I can find a replacement for it. Until then, I'll do my best with the ballpoint tip. But just probably will not work as good. Work as well, I should say. Okay. I have a small pair of... Well, let me put that down so I'm not trying to hold it while I'm looking for what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Let me switch back to the bench view here. Okay. All right. Let's see how this works. Yeah, because this is the inside of it, and the whole inside came out. So I'll have to try to I'll have to try to see if I can get replacements for it. David says, I'm still using the old helping hands. Guess I need to upgrade too. Definitely worth it. Jody says, I wouldn't even have a use for when I don't do any fancy wiring. You don't have to do fancy wiring to need to use for it. Any wiring will do. I have the other one that you have, Andrew, and I've never used it yet. Really? You're going to have to get into lighting your kits a little bit then. It's super fun. The one with the long bendy arms. Yeah. And David says, very brave to be switching those out while it's hot. I don't trust myself enough for that. It pretty much cooled down by that point. I just didn't want to touch it for safety reasons. Ooh, that's the smell of a brand new tip. They have some smell to them when you first use them for the first time. So let's see if this does any better. But I think some of my super chat tonight will be replacing my tip on this. Might need some more solder. Yeah, the problems I was having with this might have been the fact that the tip was damaged. All right. Well, unfortunately, we didn't get too far on this work because we had to suss that issue. So I'm just going to switch back to the desk here briefly to send you guys out. Give me one moment to reconfigure a wee bit. Here we are. One moment. Where's my mouse? All right, so here we are at the end of the stream already. It is 11 o'clock. I have to be up early for work tomorrow, so I don't really let these streams go much beyond 11 o'clock. So yeah, so chunk of putty work done, which is great. And sussed out the issue I was having with the solder. I will have to go on Amazon and see if there are any suitable tips I can get. Let's see. Let's just update. Let's just go over the chat here. Jody says, I do like my models. I just keep it simple because that's all I know how to do. Well, you know, feel free to push yourself to learn more. You don't learn until you do it, right? And you can do some pretty cool things if you figure it out. I don't know how to make circuits or use resistors, etc. The stuff that you do for the models is really quite simple. Shark says that makes two of us, I think is what he meant, Jody. And Dash says, oh, Jody, you'll use it when you get Donnie involved. Yeah. I just use cheap pre-wired LEDs on a strand. If I need a red light, I paint the light or the clear piece. Okay. David says, have a good night. Well, thank you. And Jody says, no, Howard, please stop. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed the stream, for watching me sand and do putty work and look at those. Look at that wiring and the solder iron and stuff like that. I hope the new little setup for live stream worked out okay. It was a bit of a test run for me tonight. And definitely a little weird not having somebody producing for me. I've gotten used to having somebody to talk off. So hopefully we'll have somebody next week to help out with that. But thank you everyone for joining me. If you've enjoyed this live stream, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done this yet, hit that subscribe button today. You make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew. This is Canadian Starships. Dash has been the patron of the stream. Thank you, Dash, once again. Have a great night, everyone.